Hi, everyone, and welcome to this event, Level Up Your Workspace with Notion AI. We're really glad that you could join us today. And as we're getting started, feel free to type into the chat where you're from and how long you've been using Notion. We'd love to hear everyone's experiences. So let's first get started with an introduction, and we'd also like to show you a bit about the event itinerary for today. So there's going to be introduction, then what is Notion AI, then we're going to show you how to use Notion AI in different use cases, then we'll be building together a note-taking template using AI, and then we'll go over Notion AI's pricing, and then a Q&A, and finally, how to download the free template that we built together today. So let's dive right in. So first, we are the Organized Notebook, and we specialize in designing Notion templates that can help you optimize workflow, organize data, and increase productivity. And feel free to visit our website and template store where we have a lot of freebies, free resources, as well as different kinds of templates that can help beginners get started with Notion. So we'll leave the link to this in the chat. And my name is Sarah, and I co-founded the Organized Notebook along with my co-founder, Anne, who will be managing the chat today. So a few notes about the event. Please add your comments and questions into the chat and keep the conversation respectful and about the event. And just a friendly reminder, this chat is for discussing about this event and Notion related topics. Messages not related to these will be moderated and removed if necessary. So please keep adding questions that you have throughout this event into the chat, and we'll be answering it mainly at the very end of the event because there is a bit of a lag between YouTube Live and the actual stream. So it would just be easier for us to answer it at the end. So feel free to type them into the chat. So let's start with what is Notion AI. And first, have you all used Notion AI or not? Feel free to answer in the chat. So we'd love to hear if you've tried it already or not and what you think about it. So Notion AI may be using OpenAI's GPT-3 language processing models, but it hasn't actually been confirmed. So if this is true, it might be lagging behind ChatGPT, which uses a more recent version in GPT 3.5 or GPT-4 in the paid plan. So what this means is that it might have less recent data that it's trained on and less clear responses compared to GPT 3.5. So what you might notice is that Notion AI might have more of a knowledge base that is a little bit more behind than the GPT 3.5 that you might use in ChatGPT. So that is the main difference. But with information which doesn't really is not necessary for you to know the exact the date that it's trained on, then it should work just as well as GPT 3.5. So how does Notion AI differ from other AI options, particularly ChatGPT? So the biggest differences are the AI blocks and AI database properties that you can use with Notion AI. So ChatGPT kind of works mostly as a chatbot, so you ask it questions and it answers them for you. But what's cool about Notion AI is that you can actually build it into your workflow and pages and various databases so that you can really use it in new ways and to generate information inside tables, for example. So it's very interesting the way that you can use Notion AI. So Notion AI allows you to go further with using AI. So yeah, basically ChatGPT is designed to ask where you ask questions and get results that way. But Notion AI can get built into your workflow instead. So next, let's go over how to use Notion AI, and feel free to follow along in your own workspaces if you already have Notion AI. So the first thing to know is the basics of using AI in Notion, and that is to remember that the keyboard shortcut is Command or Control plus J. So if we type Command, Control, J, it's going to pop up something like this, and you can just ask it anything here, and you can continue writing, summarize, find action items, and so on. So you can really just ask anything by just typing Command or Control J. And the other way to get AI to work is by typing /AI. So if we go here and type /AI, you can see all sorts of AI things you can do as well. But the Command Control J allows you to get a immediate, like a question box. So it could be more useful in that sense. And then the next thing is the AI database properties. So what we talked about earlier with the way that ChatGPT is designed more like a chatbot, but Notion AI you can use within your workspaces and databases, is that Notion AI basically has database properties. So what does this mean? Well, there are 4 types of database properties that you can add that are AI. So here we have a sample database that is in table view, and let's just add an entry inside of here. So if we click the plus sign over here, we can either do an AI summary, AI key info, AI custom autofill, or an AI translation. So let's say that we choose AI summary, and we can just try on this view. And what happens is if we put something inside here, it's going to summarize it in here. So let's actually go here. And let's say that we have some kind of article about artificial intelligence. So we could just paste in something inside here like this. And what we can do is we could just click this update button, and it's going to show us a summary of the contents. So as you can see, it just created a summary like this. And if you don't like it, you can always click update to generate more responses. But this is really useful if you just want to see from outside what is the contents of the page. So the next one you can add if you click plus is the AI key info. So if we click here, it's gonna give a what key info to extract question box. So we can just do key topics in bullet points, for example, and save changes. And then if we go out and we click update, it's going to show us some of the key topics and key info here, like this. And then the third database property that you can add, which is AI, is now the AI translation. So if we click here, and you can choose what you're going to translate. So for example, we could just translate the name. So then if we go like this, and now we don't really have anything here that is in the name. So we could just call this artificial intelligence article. And then if we go here, we can set it up by clicking edit property. And translate to, you can choose from all sorts of languages. So let's say that we wanted it in Spanish. We could just click Spanish, save changes. And now if we click the update button, it's going to show that like this. So now we can go to plus here, and then we can do an AI custom autofill. And what this means is that you can ask it anything. And this is one of the strongest points of Notion AI. So if you want to generate study questions or some other kind of thing that you want to ask AI based on this table, you could just add it here. So you could do something like generate a 1-sentence summary about this page and save changes. And then you can go here and click here. So now we got a very short summary like this. So these are the 4 types of AI properties that you can add to a database in Notion. And you can do all sorts of things with this. So this makes it very useful. So let's go to the next section. And the next thing we wanted to discuss is the AI blocks. So the AI blocks are another feature that we really like about Notion AI, and it might even be one of the most strong aspects of Notion AI besides the actual properties you can add to the database. So what this means is that if we open up a page, so if we click plus new and we open it up, then you can actually add AI blocks inside of pages. So let's say that we want a AI block here. So we could type /AI. And if you scroll here, you can get to the place where it says AI blocks. And here, let's say that we want a summary. Then we could just click summary and then we could paste something in here. So if we paste something like this and we click generate, it's going to generate a summary of what we just added here. So this is also very useful because no matter what you put inside the page, you can always just click update and it's going to show you a summary of it like this. So next, what we're going to do is show you the other AI block properties. So this one was the summary block, but you can also do other ones. So let's actually delete this one and we can delete and /AI. And we can go to, so we did summary. So now we can try action items. So action items are really useful if you need action items based on a page. So this is more for like meeting notes and things like that. But we can just click here and generate. And it's going to give you a checklist based on this text that you have inside here. So for example, develop advanced web search engine, improve recommendation systems. And of course, this doesn't apply as well to an article, but it could be a great thing to add to your meeting notes so that you always have an action list at the end that you can just auto-generate after the meeting. So we highly recommend that for this type of block. And then the other AI block you can add is if you go here, you'll notice custom AI block. And again, this is very powerful because, for example, you can ask it to write things like a social media post based on what you add to a page and things like that. So anything you want, you could just ask AI to write. But in this case, let's say that we want a short summary of this page, 1 sentence, and generate. And it gave us 1 sentence summary of this page inside of this block. And we can just always click update no matter what happens to the rest of the page. So this is also very useful. And next, we would like to talk about the translation property with Notion AI. So one of the biggest ways you can use this is inside of a translation table. And translation tables are really useful because you can easily create vocabulary lists, or if you're working with multiple people from different backgrounds and languages, you could add all of their languages so that they always have a translated version of whatever you need in the table. So let's actually go ahead and create a table by typing /table and choose table view. And we're going to click plus new database, and we're going to name this translation table. And let's say that this one is going to be English. And then we can add a property here, which is going to be the AI translation. And we're going to translate English into, let's say, Korean and save changes. So now what we can do is we move it here. We can edit this to say Korean. And then let's say we type here, hello, goodbye, thank you. And then you could just click here, update. And it's going to show you the Korean translations here. And then you could even add more. So if we put another AI translation, so then you could translate from English into, let's say, Spanish and save changes. And now we can rename this Spanish like this. And we could just click here and update them. And if you have auto update, it's going to automatically update it after a certain amount of time. So you don't have to worry about constantly updating each of these things. But if you want it immediately, you can just always click update to get it. So this is a really useful way if you want to learn new languages or whatever you're trying to do. This could be very useful. So learning languages, working with team members from other countries, and so on, or even like a localization project could be really useful with this translation table. And the other thing you can do with translation is that you can actually translate more than just a text. So let's say that we have a tag here. So we have an article, and then we have a tag here. Let's say that it's about science. And then we wanted to add a AI translation here. We could click AI translation, and you can translate two properties at once. So we want to translate the English and we want to translate the tags. So then we can translate those into, let's say, French, and save changes. So now what happens is that if we edit this property, AI autofill translate, want to translate English and tags, translate to French, and then we can go out and it should translate for us. So let's try clicking here, and we're going to click going to edit this property, AI autofill translate to French. So it should be working, but there seems to be some kind of bugs here. But yeah, so basically you can translate different properties based on different languages. So we recommend you to try that out as well. And next is actually the summary property. So you can either add an AI summary property that's built in, or you can also add your custom AI prompts for summaries. So if we just delete this one and we can just get rid of a few of these so that it's a little bit cleaner, we can delete this property as well. And now we can just see what happens if we add the AI summary. So if we click plus here, then we just simply add AI summary. And we can just go out and click this button. And we basically get an AI summary like this. So the next thing you can do is add a custom AI prompt for summary. So let's say that when you skim through your tables, you don't want to see such a long summary. So you could just click the plus button here and instead click AI custom autofill. And then here you can add short summary, one sentence. About this page and save changes. And then we can click this button and now it shows a much shorter summary here. So if you don't like the default summary, you can always change it up by going here. You can even edit the property and let's say friendly tone. And we can get various different types of answers through that. So we recommend you to play around with this and just make sure to add a sort of custom prompt if you want something different from this generic AI summary that comes with this property. So the next one we wanted to talk about is revisions, and AI is very useful for revision. So if you were previously using something like Grammarly or other revision software, you might be able to just fix your writing just with Notion AI. So that's also really useful if you're using Notion for most of your things. Then you could just ask Notion to fix your writing inside of Notion. So that makes it way easier than copy pasting from outside. So let's actually open this up and let's say that we want to write something here that we want to revise. So if we just take something, a paragraph, And we make some mistakes on purpose to test this. So we can just add some random S's. We can remove past tense like this and maybe add some misspells. Like this. And now what we can do is ask it to fix our writing. So let's see how AI does with this. So if we go to here and then type /AI, we can ask it to improve writing. And it's going to do everything that we made mistakes to. So we said artificial intelligence is the intelligences of machines or software, but here it actually fixed it. And all the other ones are fixed too. So develops, focuses on the developments. So everything seems to be much more fixed here, like this, and it's improved the writing in general. So we can just continue like this and replace the selection, or you can insert below. So let's say that we just discard this one, and then we can do /AI again. And next we can just do fix spelling and grammar. So if we do fix spelling and grammar, it's going to fix it without actually adding its own sort of twist on it to make it flow better or sound better. So if we click here, you'll notice that now it's going to only fix what is wrong, but it won't add its own thing. So now you can see that everything that we made purpose mistake here is fixed here, but then the language itself hasn't really changed. So those are the two ways to improve your writing in Notion AI. It's either to do improve writing or fix grammar and spelling. So it depends on your needs if you only want the grammar and spelling part, or if you actually just want a general touch up on your writing, you might want to choose improve writing. So this can be super useful. And the other thing is that you can also ask it to continue writing based on this, or even make it longer. So let's say that we decided we wanted to continue writing. So we could just continue writing. And it seems that there are some problems with AI right now. So we'll just discard this one. But when it works, you can actually lengthen the writing by asking it to continue writing. So next we can go back and then we can go to generate writing ideas. So another really exciting thing about Notion AI is the ability for it to generate new ideas that maybe is outside of your own mind. So if you might have a topic in mind, but you just don't know where to start. So this is really useful if you have something like writer's block. So we highly recommend using Notion AI to sort of craft your outlines, or even just like a basic version of your first draft, and then you can add your own personal touch and expand on it. So let's try this out. So let's say now we can add the linked view of this database that we have, this sample database. And let's say that we want to plus new, and we're going to ask AI to write an outline. So we can ask AI to write an outline like this. And let's say we wanted to write an outline about artificial intelligence for a blog. And if we click enter, it's going to give you an outline with bullet points. So let's say that you feel like you had no idea what to write on your page. But now with this Notion AI, you have basically a framework for what you can talk about. So you don't have to use everything they give you, but this could be a really great alternative to having writer's block because you just have so many ideas to sort of work with. So we also really recommend using it for outlines. And the other thing is you can also use it for brainstorming. So let's just delete this, and we can now make a new one here. So we can do /AI, and we can ask for brainstorm ideas here. And we can do brainstorm ideas on or Notion AI templates, for example, Notion AI templates. And we hit enter. And now it gives us some ideas. So maybe Notion AI doesn't completely understand the meaning of a Notion template with AI, but at least this is something to work with. So for example, a template for project management, design a template for content planning, develop a template for goal setting, and so on. So it gives us a bunch of ideas to think about instead of just being a blank page. And the other cool thing is that you can also ask it to change tones. So if we highlight and we just do change tones, we can ask it to be more friendly. And now you can see the same text, but in a friendly tone. So that's really nice as well. So if you want to experiment with different writing styles or tones, you can easily just sort of highlight it and see what it sounds like. And also you can do things like simplify language. So if we discard this and we click Ask AI and we just ask it to simplify language, it's going to make it into something way easier. So let's see what happens. And yeah, that one is also down for the moment, but it should work. So basically, Notion AI can be a really great way to do various things with your writing that would be difficult to normally do in a normal scenario. So we really recommend it in that sense for writing. And the next thing that we like to use Notion AI for is with meetings. So we sort of talked about this briefly before, but basically you can make a meeting database, for example, and then add the action plan as a custom AI property or as a block property. So here's what that means. So if we go /AI, slash actually database, and we go table view, and let's say we create a new database called meeting notes, and we have a meeting here. And then we can click the plus button, and we can add a custom autofill, and we can ask it to make an action plan. Make an action plan based on this page. And we can save changes. And then we can open this up and we can add a sample meeting. So let's say that we discussed new templates we could create. We talked about finances for this month. We need to come up with new ideas and topics for the next month. And then let's say that now we ask it to do the action plan. So now it's come up with this huge action plan just generated like this. So that's also very useful. So create new templates, assign team members to brainstorm and propose new template ideas, set a deadline for template development and implementation. So this can be really useful for meetings. And the other way you can do this is actually by creating a default template. So if we go to plus new template, and inside here, you can add a block AI property. So then we can go here and go to custom AI block, or actually we can do find action items. So we can do find action items, and we go back, and then we can add a new one here. And then we can go up here, copy this, and we can update. Actually, in order for this to work, you have to make sure that it hasn't been clicked on here yet. So let's actually edit this and make sure that it's doing the correct thing. So delete, find action items like this, then back. And then we can go plus new and click here and then paste this in, generate. So now it's going to come up with various action plans based on this page. So the next thing we wanted to talk about is just some general tips. So if you're using AI blocks, it generally applies to the whole page, even the properties. So be careful what you add there if you want accurate results. So sometimes if you have some miscellaneous tags or other kind of random properties that you don't actually want AI to reference, the AI blocks can also pick that up. So just be careful with that. And if you're not happy with the results, just keep generating. And make sure to ask for specific requests when using a prompt. So for example, if you want bullet points, how do you want to format it, and so on. And one more thing that we saw in this previous example is that if you put a AI block inside of a database template, make sure you haven't generated it. So you want it to be like an empty one with the prompt, and then make sure not to click anything and then go out so that it works on all the new pages that you create. So now we'd like to actually build a template that uses AI together. So what we're going to be building is something like this. So basically, we have here a button for adding a note, as well as a gallery view of different notebooks. So we have a notebook on science, a notebook on art, a notebook on philosophy. And each of these notebooks are going to carry notes inside of them, which is shown in this table below here. So let's say that we put this inside of our art notebook. Then if we click here, we should be able to see that note here. And the AI properties that we decided to use in this are AI summary, AI key info, and then we also made some custom notes where you can add the custom AI blocks inside. So for study note, you can see, for example, study questions, and then for meeting note, you can see a action plan inside of it. So we'll get started with building this next. And if you already have Notion open, you're welcome to follow along as we build. And we really believe that building is the fastest way to learn how to use Notion templates and build them. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you'll have to do is we generally always start by going to the top right-hand corner, 3 dots, and we're going to do small text full width. And that's going to allow us to have more space on the page. And as you saw with the preview template, there were basically 2 main databases, the notebooks and then the notes. And then we had a little button on the top. So let's go ahead and put an empty button by typing /button so we can just see it. And we are going to call this add new note. And the icon for this is going to be this one. And one thing to note about icons is that you can actually set a default color. So we set everything to purple today, so you don't have to manually choose every time. So this saves a lot of time. And done. So obviously we haven't set it to do anything, so it's going to show up with this warning sign here. So underneath that, we are going to have our notebooks. So we're going to type /heading to get heading 3, and we're going to call this notebooks. And then /divider to get a divider under it. And we just simply do this to make it look cleaner. And under here, we want a gallery view. So we're going to type /gallery for gallery view and plus new database. And we're going to call this notebooks. And underneath our notebooks, we're going to have notes. So we're going to type /heading here as well. And then we're going to call this notes /divider. And under here, we're going to have a table view database by typing /table and table view plus new database. And we're just going to call this notes. So now what we can do is to start filling these properties in for the notes. So if we have a note, what we might want is tags. So that could be useful. And the next thing we want to have is possibly a URL. So we're going to click the plus button here and then go URL. And then we like to sort our notes by created time and also last edited. So we're going to add those properties, created time, as well as last edited time. And this way you really can keep track of your notes so that you know exactly when you created the note, but you also know exactly when you edited it last. So potentially you could always see the most current and relevant notes if you organize it by last edited. And let's actually just delete a few of these so we can see better. And another quick tip with table view is that you can actually freeze columns. So we're going to go ahead and click here and click freeze up to column. So now if you scroll, you can still see the name of the node. And now we can add a few AI properties. So we can go plus here and let's go ahead and add the AI summary. And then we can also add the key info. So plus here, and then we can get the AI key info, and we want exactly what kind of key info we want from this. So we can just put key topics in bullet points, save changes, and go out here. So now we basically have a very basic note table here. And let's actually just add a note inside here. So let's say that we're studying art right now and we want to add a note about Impressionism and we find some article online. So you could just open this up and we can put one in here. So now we have a article that we copied, let's say from Wikipedia, and we can put the URL as well. So we put here URL, and this is about what is Impressionism. And then what we can do is now we can load these. So we can click update. And as you can see, it came up with some key info and bullet points. And if we click summary, it's going to show us a nice summary about this as well. And now as you can see, it's quite thick like this. So we have so much space taken over by the AI summary and AI key info. So what we can now do is actually go to this three dots here, go to layout, and we can actually, first we'll want to hide the database title. We always do this to make it look nicer. And the second thing we can do is to turn off wrap all columns. And in this way, you've saved a lot of space. So if you do want to read the summary, you can just click it like this. And that's basically all we need to add here. So let's say the tag is about art concepts or art history. And then the next thing we want to do is connect our notes to our notebooks. So let's go ahead and delete a few of these so it's easier to see. And let's say that this notebook is going to be about art. So if we go here and we rename this art, and we can delete the inside like this, and we don't need the tag, so we can remove that. Delete property, and we can also remove the created date. And now what we can do is make sure to show the cover photo here. So what we can do is go to the three dots here and go to layout, and then we want to do card preview to be page cover. And now if we choose a cover photo here by clicking add cover, change cover, and we're going to go to Unsplash and just choose something that represents art. So you can just click one of these. And now we want to connect the notes to the notebook. So we're going to click plus here and type relation like this. And then we're going to relate it to our notebooks like this. And we want to show it on notebooks just so we see everything. Add relation. And now we can move this over here so we can see a little bit better. Like this. And let's go ahead and choose art. So now we have one note with a notebook. And now what we'd like to do is actually to be able to see inside of a notebook and then see those notes that we have here. So in order to do that, you'll want to actually create a database template. So we're going to go ahead and go to this blue button here and click plus new template. And this is going to be called new notebook. And let's go ahead and add a default icon. You can go to icons and something that represents a notebook. So we'll put a book here. And inside here, we're going to put a linked view database. So that just means that we're seeing a linked copy of what's down below. So we're going to click linked view of database. And we want to see the linked view of the notes database. And then we see basically what we saw over here. And what we want to do is filter it by the notebook and by new notebook, and then save for everyone. And then we're going to remove this notebook column here because it's going to be obvious. So we're going to go to properties, and then we're going to toggle off notebooks like this. And now if we go back and we go click back into art, we can actually click new notebook like this, and it should show us our notes. So what is Impressionism, along with our AI summary and our AI key info. So it's working the way that we want it to. And now we can get into the database templates for notes. So this is where we're going to start adding some custom AI blocks. So let's go to this blue button here. And right now there's no template for notes. So we're going to do plus new template. And this one is going to be for meeting notes. And we can add an icon. So we can add something that represents a note, like a document. And now what we're going to do is add the AI block inside here that would be useful if you have meeting notes. So then we could have /heading 3, and we'll call this meeting notes /divider. And let's say that we have a bunch of bullet points under here for the meeting notes. And then under here, we want an action plan. So we can click /AI, and we go all the way to our AI blocks, and we can just decide to put action items like this. And again, like we mentioned before, make sure not to click anything inside here, and we can go back. So now if we were going to, let's say, add a meeting note, and we open it up, and we can click here, meeting note, you can see these template loaded here. So let's say that this meeting note is related to art and met with art professor about different art techniques, received some assignments to complete, and so on. So let's just say that you met with someone, and then you just generate, and then it generates a action plan based on the meeting notes. So this is also a very nice way if you have a really long meeting session with lots of notes. It could just really help you figure out what you need to actually get done. And then what we can do now is also add a study note. So if we go here and plus new template, study note, and then we can plus add icon by clicking here and icons. And again, we want to use a note icon like this. And for here, let's just say study notes /divider like this. And then you can actually change this into heading 3. And you can put some bullet points like this. And then at the very end, let's say that this is where you want 5 study questions based on your study notes. So then here you can do /AI again. And we go to the AI blocks. And what we want here is a custom AI block. So we click here and we can ask it to come up with 5 study questions based on this page, like this. And then we can click back. And let's say that we want a study note based on this, then we can actually just copy this like this and click plus, open it up, and now we can choose study note. And it's going to load here, and then we can just paste it in. And then let's say generate. And now it gave us 5 study questions. So this is a really useful way for studying and generating some questions so that you don't have to actually come up with your own questions, but it's kind of more nice that you can actually study just based off of a generated question. So this is really useful as well. So you can really test your reading comprehension. And now the last thing we want to do is just add a default template. So now you see that there's meeting note, study note, and then empty. And this empty has no icon. So you actually have to make another template if you just want a default note. So we can do plus new template, default note, and add icon. And we can choose this, go back. And then you can set that default as set as default, for example, or just have something where you can just choose. So these are kind of ways that you can add AI into a notes template, and you could come up with even more types of notes. So not just study note, meeting note, but there could be various like brainstorming note and so on. So you can really use your imagination on how to incorporate AI into your note templates. And let's also just test real quick if the notebooks are working properly. So we can just click plus new. And let's say that this one is going to be about science. And then we can click plus new notebook. And it should load this like this. And what's cool is like if you go in here, and let's actually just add a cover. Change cover. Unsplash, science. And what's cool is that you can actually directly add notes through the notebook as well. So let's say that we have a note here and it's going to be about artificial intelligence. And we can tag it AI, for example. And then if we go out, now we can see the note here like this. And finally, the other thing we want to do is to make sure to sort it. So as you can see, now we have the created time and edited date. So you can put sort and you can sort it by last edited time. And if you want to see the most recent off top, you can change this to descending and save for everyone. So this is a good way to see everything based on your last added note or last edited note. And let's also go ahead and remove this above the gallery view. So we can go here, the 3 dots, and we can go to layout and toggle off the show database title. And now there's just one thing left in this template, which is to configure the button. So when you add a new note, you want to be able to just click this button and it goes in here. So we can click here, edit button, and we can do add page to. And then here you have to make sure to select the correct database. And we're going to add the page to notes. And then you can choose what kind of note it is here. So if you wanted to add multiple buttons, this is also totally possible. So if you wanted a button that says add new meeting note, add new study note, but we're just going to keep it as default note. And then you can add another step, and that is to open the page. And we're going to select page, new page added, and done. So now if we go add new note, it should open up this default note like this, and you can start adding your notes here. So this is also a very useful way to add notes. So this template is basically finished now. So this is a very basic way to use AI into a notes template. And as you can see, there's a lot of freedom in how you can customize these AI properties, as well as add the AI properties inside of the templates like this. So there are many options for that. So now let's say that you want more features. So we wanted to actually share with you some of our Notion AI templates over on our store. So we're running a currently 50% discount on all AI templates with code Notion AI 50 during checkout. So this is limited time only, and we'll be leaving the link to the Notion AI archives in the chat so you can check out all of those templates. We currently have 3. So we have a note-taking bundle with AI, we have a content planner with AI, and then we have a resource hub with AI. And each of them use AI helpers in various ways, and they're kind of integrated into the different databases and database templates. So let's actually just preview one of our best-selling note-taking AI templates. So if we go to this note-taking AI-powered preview link, we can just show you real quick how it works. So we already included some topics here. So it's kind of similar to how we did the build with me template just now with the different notebooks, but these are based on topics. And we have a whole bunch of note templates so that you can choose the one that works for you. And if we just take a look at a note, you can see this checkbox for whether or not it was reviewed or not. So you can really keep track of what you need to review next. And we created a short summary so that you can see a very short summary that then you don't need to see a huge summary from. And then we also put an action plan here, the 5-step action plan, so that you can see clearly what you need to do or if you need to take action on a note. We also added 5 review questions in case you want to review your notes or review reading comprehension based on the note like this. And if we go here, you can see all of the note templates that are included. So this is basically how we've incorporated AI into this, and it's really useful because you can just see immediately what each note is about, and they're all connected into topics. So you can easily also add new topics and add new notes. So if we go back, now we can go next, and we'd like to briefly talk about Notion AI pricing. So Notion AI includes some free responses for new users, so you can just try it out if you're new to it. And if you are interested, you can upgrade for unlimited usage. So you can click on settings and members in your sidebar, click on plans, and under Notion AI, click add to plan. And any plan is $8 per member per month or billed annually, or $10 per member per month for monthly billing and free plans. And make sure you're in the correct workspace when adding this. So we made the initial mistake of being in the wrong workspace. So just check where you are because it is only working in one workspace at a time. And if you'd like to help us out, you can go through our Notion partner link below, which we'll also leave in the chat. So now we have a Q&A section here. So feel free to type more questions as we go, and we will answer them here. So let's see here. So is there a limit to how many AI blocks or columns should be used on a database? So there are no limits on how many AI blocks or columns you can use. So you're really welcome to add as many as you like. And however, I think there might be a limit on the amount you can use, for example, for the AI summary property. So let's just quickly check this. If we go /database, table view, we just put a new database here. So if you click AI summary here, and then you want to add another one, then we cannot find another AI summary. So you can only add one AI summary, but that kind of makes sense because you wouldn't really need to put 2 here since it's just the same thing. So I think that's why there's only one, but you can add unlimited, let's say AI custom autofill. So if we have another one, you can see again that you can just add as many of these. So the only limit you have is with the AI summary. But with AI blocks, you can really just add whatever you want inside. So there's really no limit to that. However, I think it would be good to just make sure to be careful if you add too many AI blocks that it doesn't get really confusing in the page, but that's about it. Can Notion AI give me a summary of a PDF page? So unfortunately, Notion AI cannot do that because it can't scan a PDF page, but if you're able to get it into a text file and paste it in, it's going to work perfectly. So yeah, PDF does not work. Does AI translation work on a random Notion page? AI translation can work basically on any Notion page. So if I'm here right now, I can do /AI and I can ask it to translate into, let's say, Spanish, and it should work. I guess it's temporarily unavailable, but when it works, it's going to be able to translate anything, and also, of course, inside of your table view databases. Do you think Notion AI is a good writing assistance tool? I am paying Grammarly now, but I'm thinking of switching to Notion AI. I think that Notion AI is a really good writing assistance tool, especially if you use Notion for most things in your workflow or your daily life, so that you don't have to go into another software and then copy paste things back inside of your Notion page. You can really just use it directly from Notion. So that could be really useful if you're using Notion a lot and you don't want to have to always turn on Grammarly or use Grammarly. And yeah, overall, it works really well. So any other questions? Okay, great. So let's move on to the next part. So basically, thank you so much for coming today. And we have the free template that we created together today over at this link here. So you're welcome to go to this link and you should be able to find it in there. And we'll leave the link to this in the chat. And if you're interested in some of our AI-powered templates, you can find them in our stores. And remember that we have the 50% discount on all AI templates with code NotionAI50 during checkout. And this is limited time only. And if you have any questions or comments after this event is over, feel free to contact us over at organizednotebook.info@gmail.com. And again, thank you so much for coming. And it really means a lot to us that we can share live like this to an audience and talk about Notion because we're really passionate about it. And we hope that you can catch another live stream next time. So make sure to subscribe and see you in the next one.